Welcome back to Stationeers. It's another, well, nearly the end of a day, and I've been doing some construction here with a new building that we're going to be building. Or at least I'm not going to do it on camera, but I'll be putting the interior, if you like, in, and I'll be doing the exterior off camera. So it is made with iron frames, and this isn't advisable if you don't have an excess of iron. If you do have a shortage on that, I'd suggest that you go for steel. So as we've already done steel, I've got them in my locker somewhere. Yep, some steel there. You can make steel frames for 2 grams of steel, or 2 Gs of steel, and that means, you know, obviously with that amount you get 10, whereas it costs 5 iron to make 1 iron frame, so you can get a lot more out of your materials by making steel frames. However, I've gone with iron just because it's simpler and easier for me to do this off camera. Anyway, in here, what we're going to be building, I think, is the furnace building. This is the one where we're going to be moving our arc furnace in, which is right over there, and then also probably our other furnace over there, the actual, the one that we're going to make alloys with, and I think it'll be pretty good. I'm just going to really go through on what we're kind of trying to achieve in here, and maybe you want to follow along or not. The 2 end walls I'm going to make with glass again, I think. I want to be able to... well, if I flood this with atmosphere, I want to be able to sublimate gases to be able to absorb them. And also, if there is any gases in here, I'm going to need a sub-partition. I'm going to need to be able to put something like this furnace inside a box. The reason is that this will naturally outgas anywhere around it, whereas this furnace will not. So if there's no atmosphere around it, if it's in a vacuum, and that could be, we could evacuate this entire building, we could put it all in a vacuum, then this furnace is going to be fine because its only output will go out on that pipework at the back, and its only input comes in on the other pipe if we want to feed it fuel or anything else, any hot gas or something like that. So this is kind of ideal and self-contained. And however, if it is in an atmosphere like has pressure, some atmosphere, it will heat that atmosphere, and you saw that when I first turned it on. So if we don't evacuate that building, we are going to want to contain this inside something. So to contain it inside something, I'm just going to basically build a couple of quick things here. I'm going to build some duct work. Is it not in here? I thought, oh, chutes. Yeah, of course, chutes, not ducts. Never mind. Chutes. So let's build a few of those. They're only 1 G of iron. I refuse to say grams. Can't be grams. They need to rebalance that. Anyway, 1 or 2 pieces really will be enough for this. This is just going to be our output so that we can put that furnace on somewhere a little bit nicer than, you know, stuck all the way up in the air like that. We want to be able to feed stuff into the top of it and also output stuff at the bottom. So you can go here and... yeah, let's just do that. And we're going to put the ductwork on the inside. Chutes, I guess you're going to call them. And then we'll go and take this apart, I think. And let's see if this will come apart in any sort of reasonable... is that 2.4 kPa? Okay, so it's safe to deconstruct. Iron sheets. Crowbar. There we go. Okay, so if we put the furnace on the inside, then I'm just going to need to route the ductwork wherever I want to, you know, have everything coming out of it. So here's the furnace as it's set up, and I'm just going to do some ductwork from the bottom of it, feeding out over here, and it'll just dump into a bay, and then we can maybe even surround this in a block later if we want to, or even in like a small vacuum room or something like that. And then on top, we're going to be able to put another set of chutes, and there's a few different kinds that we can actually go for. You'll see that that is already composed of corners, but if we go for this chute bin, once this actually will rotate to the way I want it to... you're just not going to face upwards, are you? There you go. Okay, and can we not face... it's probably too far back, you know. Yeah, that's... oh, in fact, hang on. No, it will place, just not directly over the furnace. Okay, and then if we just use not a junction, but a regular furnace, a regular chute. There we go. So we have basically an input that we can see and easily dump stuff into, and that does need a little bit of power, but we can route that power again through the back and through the walls, and that should do us there. We have the output being fed out into a separate bay, And later on, we'll be able to remote control this. So we can just move this chute bin elsewhere and have it, you know, process inside this block. We can either surround it with a solid block entirely or, again, vacuum. So that will do us for the moment. I don't need to set up the rest. I think we've already seen it off camera. We just redo all of this and we can do that in there. The other thing we're going to do is also with this arc furnace. Whenever we put something in it, it's going to outgas, and we don't really want that, or at least we want to capture the outgassing. We want to use up all the resources that we can. So the easiest way to do that is to basically surround that in some sort of chamber again, but with capturing it into probably that, you know. We don't need this anymore. And it's not connected, so I think we can just get rid of you for a second. Disconnect. Yep, and let's grab that. You can come inside, and we'll use you, I think, maybe, well, it'll actually go probably in this block, and then put the furnace in that one, something like that. I am going to need a lot more cable coil. That does mean a lot more mining, but, well, it's going to find more copper, but that's not quite ready yet. So let me just grab, just while it comes to sunset or sunrise, let me just grab a few things. There we go. We'll grab the tank connector. We'll go and connect this up, and then we'll get an idea of how we want this connected. So I think I'm going to have it sort of rotated the other way around. Okay, and we'll have it like that, so that in here I can just put a little active vent like here, for instance, and put our arc furnace here, and then we just surround both of them. Let's just grab you and drop you, and then we just need to switch this over. There we go. That's all sorted. And then we can just grab, in fact, I've probably already got some stuff in my backpack. Yep. I only need maybe a corner. Yeah, there goes my light. Backpack. 3. Let's grab that. I will look forward to actually be able to get more alloys. Be able to make more of the large battery cells. That will make this much nicer. There we go. Yes, an active vent. I already have one of those printed out. There we go. That will do for this. And we'll drop it here for now. Yep, that's exactly what we want. And we want this it's set inward. Yep, because it's going to absorb whatever's in this cubic space and whatever's in this one as well. And then I need to go and print out some walls. And we don't necessarily need glass walls, but they kind of look nicer. And the only thing I'm going to need to be able to do is trigger that furnace and put stuff into it remotely. Yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. I'm almost thinking that, well, should we actually put a remote system on it? Because both the input and output can be attached by chutes, so that's not a problem for us to do. Let's just grab the chutes. Oh, grab the iron ingots. Okay, I'm gonna have a think about it while I just go and mine, because I need to go and get some stuff, some copper mainly. Let's just grab you, switch you over, and I'll see you shortly. Back from mining now, and yes, I am going to surround this. I think it's just needed. It's just one thing I need to get done. Let's just cancel that for a second. So if I'm going to do that, I need to be able to draw off this this basically atmosphere that we're going to capture. So I want to be able to have that available somewhere. As such, I think I'm going to move this a little bit. So just not very far, but I'm going to move it to, whoops, when I can actually use my tools. Where is my wrench? Nope. Drill. I'm going to move it to here and rotate it around. And then, of course, we can just use basically an existing straight piece, and we just probably need whichever tool it's going to need to do that. Yeah, there we go. So we'll then be able to access this atmosphere outside the cube, wherever we put it. I'll be able to simply read it with my little sort of atmosphere analyzer. That's the most important part, at least to start this off. And then we're going to surround it. So I'm not going to move that arc furnace just yet, but we are going to... In fact, can we just print another one? How much does it cost for an arc furnace? Because you will eventually need more than one anyway. 5 copper and 20 iron. That's actually not too bad. We should already have the iron. No, where did the iron go? Did I put it in here? I think I did. Yeah, 130 iron. You can go in there. And let me just switch that off just to rescue the copper. It's probably horribly inefficient to do so. But yeah, I'm just going to print one off. Yeah, there we go. And just turn it to the next thing. So we're going to basically set up an entirely separate array before we do this. Now, we're going to need to also get power through here so that when the copper finishes, I'm going to put it in the top. I'm going to get the whole, in fact, there's some copper. We're going to get the cable coil, or stacks of cable coil, just produced as much as possible, because we need to feed into there. I'm probably going to feed it from this line straight through this wall, because we're going to have an airlock right here eventually to be able to evacuate the whole thing. And we're going to run that cable all the way down here and into, well, at least the first of our arc furnaces. Arc furnaces are really handy, certainly early game and even late game as well, just for non-alloys. You use electricity, you get some stuff back out of them, all the pure stuff basically, and you can then still use those pure ingots in the furnace once you actually rebuild it. So yeah, ores or ingots work perfectly fine. So it tends to work quite well for batch processing of ores basically. And you are nearly done, hopefully. Yep, there's my arc furnace. And we're going to want to feed this in and out, etc. So I'm going to want to choose where I want this. Ideally, I want the input facing the other way. Yeah, we're going to have the input facing us and the power facing us as well. So if we put that there, we can basically do this, I think. That will do. Then we'll be able to run out of the back chutes, by lots of them. And we're also going to be able to run power around from here and then into the back of here. So we'll be able to use both of them. I'll be back in a second. I'm just going to go print off the cable coils so you don't have to wait for that. I'm also going to print off some more chutes, but the idea here is that we're going to build a chamber that probably have a start. Not an inlet. I want a corner here, I think. Yep. And we'll put a chute bin here to insert stuff. Now, later on, we'll have a queuing system so that these won't get jammed. But initially, when you do this kind of thing, you want to make sure they don't get jammed. So only put one thing in at a time and make sure you watch for the doors opening and for it not to be activated. You can tell because the main glowing areas on the left-hand side here are not on. Okay, I'm off to make more chutes, more cable coils, and let's hook everything up. Okay, and we're fully constructed here, or at least until we get to actually filling in the sort of walls. And I'm just going to do, in fact, do we need iron sheets? Isn't that not iron sheets? That is iron sheets. And do I not need welder? One iron sheet. No, I don't need the welder. Good. Let's just actually fill in all of these walls and get that going. The back aren't done yet. They are just iron frames, but that should be different shortly. There we go. Just so we can see in here, I want this actually made of glass, and it should match the rest of the building once we're done. Let's put that in our backpack. And then the rest of these, in fact, hang on, we do actually need a welder. We just need to close this. So I've got the chute from a chute bin on the front, and it's on in there already, the arc furnace. From the back, we're going to come all the way around here, and it's got a chute outward at the moment, but I'll just replace that with whatever's needed to output the finished item. So in here, then, we're going to be able to fill in all of this with glass. The only thing is we'll need to be able to basically vent this until we start getting atmosphere in here and be able to deal with it otherwise. So I'm going to want to be able to maybe turn these on and off remotely. We can do that by a couple of different ways. I think we're going to get some logic chips out to sort it, but before we do that, let's just finish this off with some glass sheets and get most, well, not all of it, but most of those walls finished. Have I not got glass sheets? I'm sure I have them somewhere. They're in my backpack? No. Oh, yes, they are. There they are. Thought I had them somewhere. So we'll just finish this off. And yeah, not necessarily that front one, but we'll finish off the roof if we can. This side wall, this roof, and the back. And then we should be able to just weld in the frames. Is that done? Looks done. Yeah. So the frames, there's nothing special back here. There is no special circuitry or anything like that. It's just chutes. So, you know, no need to belabor the point too much. And let's just weld this up. 1 and 2. I've lowered the jetpack thrust, by the way. That is in your backpack settings. So press 3, you'll see there's a thrust up, thrust down. Thrust down to about 59% seems to be about right. and we'll see how well that goes. I don't necessarily need to weld this third one up. Those first two will do fine, but it should get us up and running. And that's go almost an enclosed area, really. What we just really need from here is, first of all, a sensing point for us to deal with it, which is exactly what that's going to provide. An output, which is what this is going to provide. And then we just need to perhaps think about some chips. So if I just grab some copper, and I want to probably go for the I/O, and we'll see if we can use, I think there's like a logic switch, and it came in fairly late from when the last season. It wasn't something that immediately happened. So I/O, logic, maybe logic I/O. There we go. I need some gold. Plenty of it. Yep. Full kit logic I/O. And I'm going to print 2 of them. And then I'm going to put them over here, and we're going to see if we can actually interface with the relevant points. We need to just turn on the arc furnace. Whoops, that's more copper coil. I do actually need that, so that's good. Let me just put in some spares here and make sure that's in there. And yep, that's already printed the first one. So let's grab you. And let's put this down. Now, let's take a look. We normally want the writer, but there is a writer switch. And I just want to see whether, there we go, logic writer switch. I want to see whether it actually solves the problem more, well, better than I would need to do otherwise. So let's just put this down. And let's just see. Do I also want to put another one down? I think I do. And let's hope that this actually works. I haven't tried this. Nothing like trying it live and then failing when you're recording. That just happens a lot, especially with me. But there we go. We'll get that sorted, and we'll just put down a couple of corners. That just turns into a junction. And the same thing here. It's so much faster when we actually be able to do it this way. There we go. And then we can then just pump this back in here, grab our screwdriver, and we should be able to set this out. So what do I want to set this out to? You'll see I have a transformer over here. I've done that to separate this into a sub-network. So this is really easy to then see what we can select. So we can select the arc furnace, and the out, we want to change this to the activate button. Okay, so I can activate this remotely, hopefully. So if I press, let's just see. Well, I need to put something in it, clearly, to see if that actually works. Let's grab some copper. Well, no, let's grab some iron. It takes less time to do iron. So turn on the chute bin, put this in, pull the handle. Okay, and that should be in the chute now. So if I turn the switch on, are you not getting any power? You should have got some power. I have turned you on, and everything else is on. Oh, haha, yes. Helps if you actually wire up the power. There we go. Tell you things go wrong. It just happens. There we go. 1, 2. Put that back. And let's put the cutters back as well. So let's turn this on now. Okay. And that's turned on. If I press this, it probably won't make a difference. If I just turn it off now, will that come out of here? It will. Good, that's working. If I turn this back on, and now if I flip this switch, it's currently off, but if I flip it on, are you not going to write? You should have stuff in there. Oh, okay, so I need to flip this to on and back off again. Fine, and then it works. Okay, and then we'll do the same thing with this one, and someone's probably going to correct me. I think there's a button. Is there a button? Is that printing out a third one? I just want to see if there's a button available. Yeah, it is printing out a third one. So reader, let's go backwards. Switch. Slot reader, no button. There is a button that you can actually grab from a different thing. I think it's just like a specific switch, but in this case, I'm not going to worry about it. The other thing I wanted to actually do here is I'm going to set this to the small active vent. I'm going to choose the on mode, not the mode, the on. Yes, on. And then here I can choose whether to turn this on off. This is really weird. As it's just the usual backwards labeling again, in that if I click this now, it will turn it on. And again, the same thing with that. So yeah, that turns it on, turns it off. Okay, is that set up or correctly in there? Set inward, so it's currently set to outward. I want to set it that way. So basically set outwards means it's currently set to inward, meaning it's pulling in the atmosphere. Good. So I can then seal in this. There we go. And that should be self-contained, which means inside of there is going to get quite hot. So if we just grab our backpack and grab our little atmospheric analyzer, I'm not sure we can actually see in there, but we can see in here. So right now it's 21 kPa, i.e. almost nothing in there. CO2. So let's just turn on the active vent. It's going to pull stuff in here. You can see it's already building up. And we'll see what it's actually building up with once it actually finishes the atmosphere. That's finished a run. So have you finished with this? Let's just put this in my tools. There we go. So we got 39 and 11. Yep, that is done. So let's just put in another load of iron. And let's start this up. So pull this closed. That's going to go straight into there. And then this one is, I need to press this one. And back again. There we go. Okay, and off it goes. So now we can have a look at this, and you're going to start to see this atmosphere building up. It's vacuum in there, or it was until I started that process up. But you'll see there is X, basically a pollutant, building up. And there's also, is there a buildup of anything else? No, it's just pure pollutant from iron. So yeah, we can use that in other processes. So it's useful to have. And you'll see also it's quite high temperature. However, it isn't going to pollute this main room that we're in. Of course, right now, it's definitely not going to pollute it. But we'll have this available. And we just need to guard against it being overpressurized. So we can have another back pressure relief valve. We just send it out that wall and have it automatically release into the atmosphere if it ever passes a certain point. You know, that's entirely up to us what that point is. And for the moment, that's not going to be too much of a problem, to be honest. So that is working exactly as I expect, and everything's good there. We can, of course, turn this whole building off, and it will work perfectly fine just by pressing this transformer button. And then we don't have to worry about turning off individual switches. The outlet is finished here, and it just dumps everything exactly as you might expect. So we can put those in our machines and build other options. The other switch I was talking about, you can build them, but then you would need basically a logic reader to read that switch, and then a logic writer to then write that to the furnace, or write it to that vent. That's 2 chips instead of just 1, so I just went with 1 logic writer switch. Oh, and just another point, there is also, for our little tablet, there is different modules you can actually use. Let me just get my backpack sorted out for a second. The modules, at the moment, it's got the atmospheric module in there, but you can use the network module to get more information about the cable network. So if we just grab that for a second, I'll just show you that because it's useful. The tracker is also very useful, but network analyzer will just swap with that. And now, if I turn this on, there we go, network analyzer. So you'll see in here exactly what power is being used. So for those 2 logic writer switches, I am consuming 50 watts for each one. But given that nothing's happening right now, it's easy enough just to flip this off. Okay, and you'll see everything is unpowered. So flip this back on whenever you want to, process some ores, and you have that available. The arc furnace is 5 watts, but as soon as it starts processing stuff, that's probably going to shoot up massively. Again, the chute bin is quite low. The active vent is on at the moment, and because it's on, it'll be consuming, so you can turn that off if you want to. But to be honest, you may as well just leave it on and turn the whole building off, because, hey, that's the easier thing by far. Okay, same thing out here. We can just take a look at what we're actually using here. Let's just get between the tooltips so that nothing's a problem. So the arc furnace is consuming stuff, so is the LED, because that's on all the time. And you'll see that the auto lathe is using 100 watts while it's on. Again, all the time. Same thing with the pipe bender and the electronics printer. Let's just get rid of that menu. Is there any other big power hogs? There is not at the moment. What you will find, however, is the wall heaters that we have inside are big power hogs. But only once I think they only have big power hogs when they start up. So let's just go in here, because there is something I actually want to do in here. And we are growing a new crop. Because I got some suggestions from a commenter last episode saying, hey, it's too much effort to grow wheat, because 10 wheat... well, let me give you a bit of a history. When the game first came out, you didn't need to use 10 wheat to make a cereal bar. You'd need to use 1. But they changed it. However, there is basically potatoes. And you get them in your starting crate. So I have got 6 potatoes with just 2 plants. In here it's 26 degrees, nice, comfortable, 47 kPa. And we can replant our potatoes. And then let's just see how many of these we need to, let's just cycle to the exterior. How many of these we need to basically make baked potatoes. So baked potatoes, as you might imagine, you can make them in a microwave. Hopefully you don't need any other processing or any other ingredients like, well, I mean, I'm sure cheese, beans, butter, and your preference of, you know, well, whatever filling you like, you know, tuna, mayonnaise, no, cheese and beans are obviously the best thing you can possibly have. Anyway, if we open that, can we just put 1 baked potato in? Yep. And let's just close the door. And there's a baked potato. Let me just put this in my backpack. Open the microwave. We've got a baked potato. And we can eat a baked potato. Now, it takes a while to eat, I'll admit. The cereal bar takes a lot less. But you have an easy source of food, and there are other things you can actually make. This only consumes 66% of a baked potato, so I'm not sure if they actually spoil, but I thought I'd test that much by putting them in my backpack. And that's nice, and a nice food source for us to start with. Then you don't need to go through the processing step. Pretty cool. And yeah, that's pretty much it for today's episode, I think. So next time I'm going to be continuing the construction of this place. Later we may well want to let the air back in there while we add extra arc furnaces to this layout. But for now it's perfectly fine as is. And then the same thing over here, we'll want a very similar setup, perhaps, to this. So we could even share them in the same space. I might just want to keep them separately because, unlike the arc furnace, the regular furnace can be used in a more complicated setup that basically uses the waste heat of the furnace to heat the gas around it, which then heats, well, exchanges with radiators into pipes and other systems. We'll get into more complicated stuff later. For now, it's kind of cool as it is, and we'll be able to get more steel next episode, and maybe I'll finish off this with steel, but we've got most of it done with iron, so it's, you know, it's not too much of a bother at this point. And yeah, so I'm going to go and basically get the system to go and make more walls, or at least iron sheets for me to fill in the walls at least. And then the outside we can just do with glass, etc., and have it looking just like this. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it. If you enjoyed the episode, give it a thumbs up. More than happy to see them, and it certainly gives me more encouragement to make more of the episodes. And yeah, if you have any comments, if you've seen anything that's wrong here or any corrections, feel free to put them down below. The most important thing, it certainly helps other people who are playing through. And, you know, we'll think about more power conservation later. But given that you've probably, if you're following me along with me, you've probably got, you know, maybe 7 solar panels by now. So you should have enough in your single battery here to keep yourself going. You may want to stack another battery on top and, you know, connect both inputs on this side, connect both outputs on this side, but don't let them touch. Okay, so we'll see you next episode for some more Stationeers, and then probably the finishing of the furnace building then, I think. All right, thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.